Oh my god, not the long drugs, bro. What are those? What are those? Holy cow. Did my first triathlon. Yesterday, the Wahine and the Kane sprint distance triathlon here on Oahu, Hawaii. The home of the Ironman. And I've been racing on for the last 10 years, since 2010 or 12 years. Swim, bike, run. I haven't done that since 2015. Where I did the Honolulu Triathlon. My fitness was different back then. The course was different as well. And I was not injured back then or recovered back then. And the swim felt a lot easier. So with that said, let me think. Because I had not been running or swimming since 2015. I've only been bicycling. But a friend of mine, let's just call her Anne, to keep her name secret, said, "Hey, since you did your physical therapy out of the wheelchair and back to bicycling, why don't you try triathlon again?" And I had never really thought about that. She also had said she wanted someone to kind of be there to participate with her. So it kind of rekindled the spark to do a triathlon again. Sorry for the background noise. That rekindled the triathlon bug, I guess they call it. And I have done a marathon in the past, half marathons in the past, Olympic triathlon in the past, but I've just been bicycling pretty much. So I had to gear up and start running and swimming again. So I did a couple of 5Ks, 10Ks, at tolerable paces, run, walk. I had crazy high heart rates because I wasn't used to that type of endurance. And swimming with regular race goggles. And the next day, I didn't want to really focus on how to breathe or how to sight properly. I just wanted to be lazy and work on the core and shoulders and arms. So I put on a full snorkel mask with the snorkel air tube to breathe, and just focused on swimming and getting the meters in, and sighting the fish and the coral reef and the ocean floor, and just swam in Ko'olina, did laps over there, till I reached about 500 meters every now and then. That was just to get the endurance back there, and sighting where I was going, and sighting this, how to do a straight line, and focus on my breathing, while swimming. and just focusing on full extension and having a strong push down. So that helped take off the rust, the swim rust. So fast forward to yesterday, it was do or die. So yesterday, the swim conditions were the worst for me. I decided to use my totally clear swim goggles because I thought the shaded swim goggles would be too dark for me to sight and see where I was going. Big mistake. So as soon as I dived in, my right eye goggle filled up with ocean water. So I had to suction cup that one on my eyeball area so it'd prevent water from leaking in. But it still did during the race. So that was my number one problem. Number two, to the left of me, on the beginning of the swim course, the sun started rising. So the sun was coming right in my eye. And because it was totally clear goggles, it was pretty blinding. And if I looked to the right, the small waves, the ripples, were hitting me in the face. So I ended up swallowing a lot of water. And then I'm doggy paddling and breaststroking. The breaststroke to kind of catch my breath and regurgitate some of the ocean water. A lot of the ocean water that I had drank during the swim. So it was battle the sun, battle the waves, hit my face, catch my breath. My heart rate just elevated through the roof. So then finally, about 3/4 of the way, after of course I had been dropped, I started to finally get my rhythm back. And there's only one guy left behind me who was a 80-plus-year-old man, but he was cool, super cool. He was my motivation to actually keep somewhat of a pace, because I didn't want him to pass me. Even though I'm not super competitive, I just didn't want to be last. And yeah, so I ended up breathing every 2 strokes. 1, 2, breathe. I was breathing every 2 strokes, yeah. Or occasionally, when I felt strong enough and my heart rate lowered, I was able to do 3 strokes and breathe. 3 strokes and breathe. So that was my method to gain some type of rhythm, because there was waves and sun. So I got to the middle of the buoys, and I wasn't really sure if I had to swim around the buoys or through the buoys. The lifeguard paddled out to me, and he said, "You have to swim around the buoys." So I was like, oh crap. I swam around the buoys, paddled back, and then it was the opposite. On the right I had the sun, left I had the waves. So I had to switch up my breathing method. I kept hearing the lifeguard's voice, "Just stay by me, follow my voice, stay by me, you're doing good, go straight." But I couldn't really see him because he was right next to the sun, the rising sun. So every time I looked in his direction, I was blinded by the sun. And he was saying, "Just follow me, just follow me." But I couldn't really see it, so I just was following his voice. So I finally got till about halfway, and I had enough rhythm, and I was gaining some distance on the man behind me, and it gave me a boost of energy, and I got to the rock wall, but then there was a lot of current from the wall pushing me back, and also after swimming back passing the buoys, I kept zigzagging out to shore, out to sea, out to shore, out to sea. So it was kind of stressful. I ended up doing more than 500 meters. Then I got to the shore, put on my slippers. Then I transitioned to the bike, part 2.
Good job, let's go!
Let's go, B. Let's go. Come on. All right. Let's go. Come on, pick it up, man.
Was the bike. And so the bike, I ran across to the T1, and I ended up finally learning how to use my Garmin Fenix 5X correctly. So press lap T1. So then the guy behind me caught up to me, and he was cool. He was like an 80-year-old man, really cool, really down to earth. I talked to him at the finish line, but I digress. I'll tell you about that later. So I decided, you know what, I'm gonna have a fun and good, comfortable bike split. So I decided to throw on my Triathalon jersey with pockets in the back, sleeveless. I already packed 2 gels in the pocket and two Little Debbie snack cakes, which are really soft, really moist. My favorite race cake. So then, what else? My bike shoes. I used my Specialized Boa dial bike shoes, and I just grabbed my Marathon low cut running socks, and it was easy to put on. I could not find baby powder the night before to fill my socks with baby powder to make it extra dry, so oh well, it still worked. I had my sunglasses in a soft case taped to my top tube. That was taped with painter's tape. So I just grabbed my sunglasses, slipped it on, grabbed my Aero helmet, bike helmet, not time trial helmet. Put that on from Bontrager. It's the Bontrager Ballista, to be specific. Grab my cycling cap, put that on under my helmet. What else? Oh, and I also took off my sauna suit, which was kind of like a wetsuit, sleeveless. I unzipped that and took that off so that when I put on my jersey, I would be kind of drier instead of dripping the whole time I was bicycling. So I took a gel up the climb up Montserrat. Took my second gel on the second lap of Kahalamal, and then got my second min as I climbed Diamond Head Road along the finish course. But I had forgot to put my racing number on with my racing belt on in Q1, so I only had my race numbers on my right arm, but officials couldn't really see it because my tattoo was pretty dark. So as I approached T2, they thought I was just a a random rider from the public, so they waved me to keep going. I kept going past T2, but then I no longer saw bike signs, so I was like, I think I'm just gonna go to T2, even though the official waved me on to go keep riding. So I rode through the finish line, back around to T2, racked my bike. What else? Oh, I forgot to add. At the beginning of T1, before hopping on my bike, I did have a big pitcher of water to pour water on my feet to get the sand off my feet. And I did have a big beach towel to lay down on and sit on and put my socks and cycling shoes on so that I would not get the forest and tree debris all over my wet body and wet shorts and wet jersey and all that. So I remained clean, which kept the comfort level up. So I highly recommend it. So back to T2. So T2, racked my bike, and I still forgot to put my race belt on for the run, which had my number placard pinned to my race belt. Because I'm coming from the cycling world, you don't think about race belts. So I grabbed my marathon socks, the high cut compression socks from Zenza, which I bought in 2015, and they're still good, no holes. So I threw those on over my cycling socks, my low-cut cycling socks, but it caused my toes to be too tight together. So during the run, it caused me to have a pretty big blister on my ring toe of my left foot. So I got a big blister on that ring toe. But I had a good run. Not fast, but good. I would say I ran for 98% of the 5K. I only walked to kind of drink, catch my breath a few times for maybe 1 minute or 45 seconds, but not extended periods. And the bike and the run was the only two courses where I actually passed other racers. So I knew I was not the last racer. Okay, on to part 3.
Let's go. And taking the win.
Go ahead, B. Let's go, B. Sprint, sprint, sprint.
Part 3, take 2, the run stuff. So T2, the run stuff. So I knew I had my shoes in T2 in my bag, so I grabbed my shoes, grabbed my Zenza compression socks, but I forgot to grab my running race belt that also had my official race number attached to it, because in the bicycle world you don't think about ever having to put on your race number because you always have it. So that's something I have to get used to again. Anyways, the shoes I used was a pair of shoes I got from TJ Maxx. I like them so much. They're actually swim shoes, like swim race shoes. Well, not race shoes. They're swim shoes that can be used for racing, I found out. because I use them on my race. So they're made to they have holes at the bottom to drain water and keep your foot dry. And the side effect of that is they produce a lot of air. They're from a company called Wave Runner, and they were the high vis yellow that I really liked. So I got it in yellow and red. That's either rest, that's another subject. But I also got a pair for my friend. We'll just call him Andy to save names, to save his identity. So because he also helped me return to triathlon with pushing my wheelchair when I was pretty messed up, biking with me the first time out of the wheelchair, and swimming with me all the times I had the swim bug to start swimming again. So yeah, he was always my motivation on that. So the run. Okay, so first lap was all good, but my compression sock I put over my cycling sock because I thought I would have more cushion. It ended up making my toes too tight together, so my left ring toe created a pretty big blister on the left ring toe, which caused a lot of pain on my stride about halfway through my run at like mile 1.5. So I just toughed through it. I stopped one time at a bus bench to pull my sock and kind of wiggle my sock to get the pressure off my toe. That helped a bit, but still the pressure came back. Still continued to run. Ran all the way till about 90% of the run, really close to the finish line. And my friend Anne had seen me, so she had her camera. She ran with me all the way to the finish line at my pace, and she did the triathlon as well. So she's awesome. She did it in relay format. So she was the runner. She had another friend who did the bike and another friend who did the swim. So I finished the run race. Immediately emotions flooded into me. I was so overjoyed. I just knelt down, began to cry, and thank God for this miracle of being able to do this again. And my friends were there to take photos and whatnot. It was amazing. Then I found out I had also placed third place in my category for 40 years old. So that blew my mind as well, because I had raced bicycles for like 12 years since 2010, and I had only podiumed one time in that 12 years. This was my first return back to triathlon, and I had podiumed third place. Not because I'm fast, but because I believe because I was consistent on the bike. Not the fastest, but fast enough for my age category. And I was consistent on the run, not the fastest, but fast enough to have an overall best time for the bike and run. So I ended up getting third place. for my return to triathlon, which is a huge morale booster, ego boost, whatever you want to call it. I was not doing this out of ego. I was doing this to prove to myself that I have returned and I'm done with the wheelchair, the curse of the wheelchair, and the curse of thinking about that victimhood mentality of what had happened to me in the hit and run in 2021 April. And I'm back baby. Alright, more triathlons to come for sure. I will definitely be doing a lot more triathlons in my future, because for one, I actually placed 3rd place in this return triathlon in the 40-year-old age category. Well, I guess I didn't think I was going crazy fast, but I maintained a good enough speed to get 3rd place in my age group. So I love that, because I had bike raced for 12 years and only got 1 podium finish in 12 years. So to get a podium finish on my first return to triathlon was a huge motivational booster, and I kind of take back everything I said about triathlon, because I learned that the community for triathlon is so welcoming, so motivating, so appreciative of doing that type of race for themselves and for the other athletes there competing with them. And I just never got that vibe from the other side of the endurance boat, so to speak. So I enjoyed the return to triathlon and the triathlon community. They're so welcoming, so friendly, so awesome. Love those people. And I have a new flame for triathlon. So I'll be back, and to me it's not about how fast you are. It's about if you got the heart to continue going despite all your shortcomings or injuries or cramping or whatever. Everyone is living on this earth. Everyone is facing similar challenges. Everyone comes from different backgrounds. Everyone has bills. Everyone's got families. So just do you. Try hard. Try your best. Try a lot. Keep going. To my friends and family, love you guys. I'm signing out. Thanks for watching.
Okay. 13 and under.
Now I a video.
Luca,
Now Wahine, tell me about it.
all of them. So ladies,
Good stuff.
13 and under, come on up.
Coming from the wheelchair. Huge accomplishment. Thank you to God and my family and my friends. post down below. What do you like to do? Swim, bike, or run? Or neither? And also,
It helps the YouTube algorithm.
like, comment, and subscribe. Alright. I always forget to say that. Peace.